A few months ago, I reviewed the Q33 FPV car, and this was a really fun and immersive experience. Well, Diatone is back again with a new car and a new name to match. So let's take a closer look at this Just Dare Q25 and see what's improved. So here it is, the Q25 car. Really nice box here with some nice creative design elements on here. And the first thing to notice here is the name change. No longer do I see Diatone on here, I see SNT and Just here, which seems to be a sub-brand under the SNT umbrella or corporation. Besides that, on the side here, you have all the available colors on here. You have red, blue, green, orange, and then you have the mystery box. Today we have the mystery box, which is pretty cool. And then the other side here, you have the different types of car. You have an RTR and a FPV. This is the RTR. I'll be reviewing the FPV car in the next video. Besides that, the battery life on here is extremely good. We're looking at 60 minutes for the RTR, which is this one right here. That's a long time. And 30 minutes for the FPV car. So pretty amazing. Diatone does give you a lot of options when choosing this car. So let's open this box and see what's inside. All right, welcome to Microcosm, a different world. It says that you're greeted with your manuals and looks like a quick start guide or a way to link your car both in Chinese and English. Let's go for the car first. This thing looks amazing, guys, and it's in a display box. So if you don't want to drive this or you're finished driving this, you can put this on your shelf and just display its beauty. All right, besides that, you have a keychain with a USB-A to USB-C cable. So I guess this thing can be ran or powered via USB-C. And then you have your radio in here. Wow, okay. This looks like regular packaging, but this might be ramps. So we have some ramps right here. And that's it, nothing else in the box. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this radio here. And this seems to be where a lot of the improvements went. This thing is significantly different than the Q33, which I have right here as a reference. You can see the difference on here. All right, the first thing I noticed here is just this big old wheel. Now, I was asking for this from the first one. The first one just felt a little bit cheap. It was just hard plastic, and you really couldn't get a grip on this steering wheel right here. Now they've included a soft foam piece right here, and that gives you a lot more grip on it. Besides that, this thing here is canted or tilted 20 degrees, so you have better ergonomics when steering the car. You can keep your hand straight and be able to steer the car, opposed to having it right here, very, very tight. So this is a more relaxed, comfortable state when steering your car. And as you can see, it's moved a little bit more forward opposed to the back of the Q33 remote. So this thing here is a lot more comfortable, and the ergonomics on this is a lot better than the first version. Besides here, you have a slew of things on here. You have a trigger, you have all these switches and buttons on here, as well as a USB-C port on here. I will talk about this a little bit later once we power up the car. At the bottom of here, you have your battery compartment, which this radar can be powered by an 18650 battery or 3 AAA batteries on here. So really cool design. Now on top here, which is a really nice design as well, we also have an FPV version of this car. And if you do have that, you can put an FPV monitor in here with this 1/4 screw. So that's a really, really nice touch if you don't want to use the FPV goggles or if you have a visual impairment. Really thoughtful thing to put that screw on this radio. Okay, so let's take a look at this car here. This thing is in a glass case, all right? And you have this foam here protecting the car, keeping it stable, and here it is. This thing is beautiful, guys. Wow. It's a lot wider than I expected. I don't know why I expected it to be not this wide, but here it is. Really nice looking car, guys. Look at that. And this color on this thing, the patina on this one, it's really cool. Now that's the cool thing about going with the mystery box. Now it's not the specific red, green, orange color. This one here has this nice little, like almost aluminum color with clear coat on here, almost like a traditional classic car, which is really cool because this reminds me of the old Nissan or Datsun 240Z cars. Makes sense because this is the Q25 240. So that's a pretty cool way or tribute to that older car. All right, so there's a warning sticker onto the car here, which is pretty cool. It says, please do not use external force to rotate the rear wheel under any circumstances, which will damage the transmission structure. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so this car here looks pretty good externally. Nothing stands out crazy. It looks good. Now, if you're gonna get this in the FPV version, you're gonna have a camera right on top here. So there's a roof on here, looks like a sunroof to fill that void. It looks really good, actually, guys. It's really good. The details are really good on this car. Just like when I looked at the Q33, I figured like the paint job was really nice on it. When I looked at it, no spillage, just really good clean paint on here. The same thing I get with this, everything here is intentional. The details on here is really, really nice, guys. Now, this might look like a regular traditional toy car, but they've made a lot of improvements to this under the hood. So let's talk about the first thing, which is the worm gear. They've used worm gears on this car both for the drivetrain and for the steering. Now, worm gears are pretty interesting. In this case, it applies more torque to the rear wheels for better acceleration, as well as making this setup really compact. Now, with that said, because of the worm gears, these things can get damaged if you do spin them. They need to be powered by their respective motors. So that's why you have the warning sticker on here. If you do spin the rear wheels or turn the front wheel mechanism, it could damage the worm gears on this car. Now, the cool thing I noticed here is that they went with a staggered tire and wheel setup here. The rear tires are a lot wider and bigger than the front wheels, which is pretty typical of any performance car, but it's cool they put that detail in the small 240Z right here. Now, talking about the front wheel, they went with a small but subtle change on here by giving this car a 2-degree toe out alignment. Yes, they did align this car with a 2-degree toe out. That's going to give you better stability when driving straight, as well as reducing the instability when turning, so it won't be so squirrely. Now, I don't know if that's going to make a big difference on a car of this size, but they did add that feature to this car. So we'll see how that works once we start to drive it. Besides that, the front of the car did also receive a massive suspension upgrade by going with a fully independent suspension. You heard that right, a fully independent suspension. As you can see, I can compress the front here and it does not affect the other side. So yes, it does compress, so it does have some springs on here. And once you do compress that side, it does not affect the other side, so it's fully independent, which is really good for ride qualities. And a car of this size, I don't know how that's gonna make a difference, but as you can see in the Q33, it was just no travel at all. This is a lot of detail, guys. A lot of car guys gonna appreciate this. Now, last but not least, they went with a more realistic tire in here with some threads, and this is gonna give it better grip. I don't know how true that is. On the Q33, it's a flat tire, which is good for grip on flat surfaces. Not like we're going to go and drive this in the rain or anything, but it's cool that they made this a little bit more realistic looking. Now, before we can actually drive and set this up, we need to know how to use the radio on here. And there's a whole bunch of buttons on this one compared to the original Q33 radio. Now, the first button here is the setup or the parameter button, and this is used to pair your radio to your actual car, as well as changing the steering or to center the throttle and the steering for your car to reset that. Then we have a play button on here, and that's for the actual FPV camera. This one doesn't have the FPV camera. Our next review will have the FPV camera on there, and that's to change the parameters of that. Besides that, you have a light button, and this will adjust the intensity of the lights on the car. And then the last one here is for your headlights. So we also have some headlights on this car as well. Pretty darn cool. Now, on the back here, you have two buttons and one switch. You have a power minus and a power plus, and that will change the mode from high power to low power. Now, low power or lower power is 70% power, and then the plus sign here is the full power that will give you 100% power. On the back here, you have an on-off switch, toggles left and right, pretty straightforward on here. You have a USB-C output on here, and that'll be used to actually charge this car if you're in the field. You have your trigger on here. On the front here, you have a steering left and a steering right, and that's used to trim the steering so that the car can track straight. All right, so let's power on this radio and see how this thing works. So here's our power switch, put that on. And as you can see, we also have an LED light on the radio. So not only the car, but the radio has a light as well. Hopefully you can see that. Let's remove the sticker first. We have access to the USB-C as well as this switch right here. Pretty cool. So let's power this on and see if it combines. Here's the light. This thing is like a freaking light show. It does remind me of the same noise of the Q33. Now let's turn the headlights on. Hopefully you can see that. Bright, off, low, bright. So the rear lights only come on once you put the under lights on, and you can see the red right there, purple. I like the blue. The blue looks pretty cool. Now, they went a step further now. If you turn the steering wheel, then that will also put on the turn indicators. Let's see if that works. There it is, it flashes. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then brake lights, there it is. So yeah, this thing is really, really detailed. They put a lot of thought into the LED lights, the underglow, the headlights, the turn signal, the brake lights. There's a lot of stuff that they put into this small car that wasn't offered on the previous car. All right, so let's take this for a drive and see how the dynamics is on this table here. Now, this does have digital proportional steering, so as you turn the steering wheel just a little bit, it will also turn the steering wheel a little bit. If you turn it really fast, it will turn fast. If you do it slow, it will do it slow as well. So this is really good for accuracy. And some of the cheaper cars in the market are just on, off, full left or full right. With this one, you have all the precision on here. And we can see, ooh, it's quick. Oh yeah. The brakes work pretty well on this one. You see that? Now, that's pretty, yeah. Okay, maybe that's not good or healthy for the warm gears, but it has pretty good braking, meaning, especially in reverse. Yeah, that is, I like the steering on this a lot more than the Q33, surprisingly. Well, it doesn't really matter because I'm gonna try it right now and see which one, how it feels compared to the other one. That's pretty awesome. Now let's see how fast this thing goes. Yeah, it's fast. Is that 100 or not? Oh man. This thing is quick. Now, I've driven the FPV version of the Q33, obviously you know that, but this one feels a little bit more stable in my opinion. Maybe because there's less weight on the top of this. The CG is a lot lower because there's no heavy weight of the FPV and camera on top. But let's just see how it compares. Here's my Q33. This one seems to be a little bit bigger. Obviously it is. This is I think a 1/76 scale. And this Q25 is a 1/100 scale car, so a lot smaller in the scale. But let's put the radio on, and hopefully it doesn't interfere with that. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't think it does. I don't see anything with that one. Let's put this on, and there it is. It's bound. There it is. Yeah, something about the Q33. It's fast too. Look at the turning radius though. It's a lot wider, significantly wider. Now you may or may not like that. Yeah, that's. Now let's see as far as power. All right. Yeah, it's definitely smoother on the Q25. I like the steering input. It's weird to say this, but the traction to me on the Q25, it's to me better. Like I hear a lot more tire slippage, like that. I think I have more control with the Q25. Let's see here if I can do that. Oh yeah, it's so much smoother. I think I have it on high power too. I need to put it back to 70%. It's so much smoother. Good gracious. And it feels like it puts the power down a lot better. Opposed to this. It's noisier too. This thing is gonna be fun. All right. This is pretty sick, guys. I'm liking this. Look at the two here. I'm pretty psyched about these two cars, guys. All right, guys, so I have this little USB-C here. I don't know the power on this here, but it seems that you can charge this by just plugging this in right here. There you go. It's charging. Here it is. This thing is awesome, guys. That is sick. It is, guys, I'd say this, these little changes that they made, it seemed insignificant, but it makes a big difference on the drivability of this car. I'm super excited to compare this car here to the Q33. And that's what we're gonna do in our next video, guys. We have the one-man on-man motorsport park down here. If you remember from last time, we have a series of tracks down there. and we're gonna put these two cars to the test. In fact, I'm gonna put the FPV version of this one and compare it to the FPV version of the Q33 so we can race this around the track and do some other competition on the track there as well. We have a drag strip, we have a road course, and we're gonna see which one is faster in the straight line and which one is faster around the track. So if you wanna see that video, guys, hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever I do drop that video. So let me know what you think about the Q25 cars. It's something that you might wanna have. It's pretty fun, guys. I had a lot more fun than I expected. Now, I tested this Q33 and that was fun. Obviously, this is an FPV version, so you're immersed in it, but I'm impressed with the quality, how this one drives, guys. Let me know what you think about this car. This might be a perfect gift for someone coming into the holiday season. If you have some kids around, or if you just like to, collect cars, this is a pretty cool one, especially this one here in the patina here. A really nice looking car here. So let me know what you think about this car here down below. And once again, guys, if you want to see this race between the two cars, or if you want to see some other challenges between these two cars, leave them down in the comment section and I'll try to make that or incorporate that in the next video. So anyways, thanks again for watching and I will see you in the next video. Peace.